every voice, it counts them all. A team of hearts with plans to share. For every soul we're standing there. It's in the ballot, it's in our hands. Together we rise and take a stand. For every dream, for every need, community spirit is our creed. The vote is here to pave the way, working hard both night and day, delivering hope, delivering dreams. We are the ones who fuel the streams. Every corner, every street, we bring the change that makes us meet. Hand in hand we hold the flame, together we'll make a lasting name. It's in the ballot, it's in our hands. Together we rise and take a stand. For every dream, for every need, community spirit is our creed. The vote is here to pave the way, working hard both night and day, delivering hope, delivering dreams. We are the ones to fuel the streams. Every corner, every street, we bring the change that makes us meet. Hand in hand.
Tonight we're coming here from the Puke Memorial Hall. Better make sure I get the right one. We're not in Port Waikato here. And these are your candidates who are vying to become the next mayor of the Western Bay of Plenty District Council. But with every election, there's one thing stepping in their way, and that will be which one of them can give me a kiwi fruit pina colada. Okay, and welcome to tonight's It's in the Ballot show. Let's kick off first with opening statements. And Rodney, you get be the first person to give your 1 minute on why you should receive that tick to become mayor.
Evening all. My name's Rodney Joyce. I have a little business running in Katikati, importing and wholesaling to various people. I've been covering, as a journalist, local government. I covered it for about 15 years, and I became a financial journalist and travelled around the world. I'm here basically to bring focus back to this council. We need a more efficient council. We need to sort out our finances. And also, I think the second most important thing is to be more open and transparent. People are worried about their rates, and people are worried about their relationship with the council and how the council treats them. So I guess the question tonight is, are you happy with the council? And if you are, there are plenty of status quo candidates. Between them, they have more than 50 years experience on the Western Bay District Council. But if you're looking for something different, if you want to change, then perhaps it's worth a look somewhere else that someone hasn't been there for donkeys, and someone that is willing to look at changing things for the better, and that's potentially me.
Okay, thank you for that. Next up, James.
Tēnā koutou, good evening. My name is James Denyer. I am the current mayor and was a councillor for a term before that. I've achieved a lot as part of a team of elected members, but there's still a lot more to do. I'm now experienced in the role and built strong connections and relationships with central government, other councils, community organisations and iwi hapu. I want to translate that experience into further progress for our district, and this experience and continuity will especially be important for us to help navigate the changes that are taking place and will be taking place. I want to continue to serve the community as mayor with hard work, dedication, and to do the best job I can for you.
Okay, thank you for that. Next up, Don.
Good evening, everyone. Don Thwaites is my name. Western Bay of Plenty local for 52 years. Completed my primary schooling at Te Puna Primary, went on to Otamoto College and then on to Massey University where I gained a accounting degree, business degree in accounting and finance. After that, came home and largely been involved in the kiwifruit industry for the last over 40 years now. Passionate about the area, passionate about kiwifruit, passionate about Bay of Plenty rugby, and certainly passionate about the Western Bay of Plenty and their people. And that's why I've been a councillor now for a few terms, done a few terms on council. Obviously, rates are a real issue coming up, cost of living pressures, hitting families hard, hitting businesses hard. So let's shine the light on that, present it in plain English, explain what's going on, and then go forward from that. Managing growth is also a big part of the Western Bay. It's such a popular area. The sunshine, people just still flock in. Thanks a lot.
And anyone knows my preference. I like the raspberry kiwi fruit.
Oh, it is a good one.
Yes, it is a good one.
Yeah.
Yes, I've even converted my grandma to it from she remembers the days when they were half the size.
And they've got a new variety, just about to replace that one, a superior one. So how's that? They're going to chop them all off and start all over again.
Oh, gosh. Okay, Grant.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Grant Daly. I'm running for Mayor and I'm also running for the Makatu Te Puke Ward Councillor position. I've lived in Te Puke for nearly 25 years now. I live on a 2-acre lifestyle property about 10 kilometres from the town centre of Te Puke. I've been a councillor for the last 9 years as a Makatu Te Puke Ward Councillor, and before that I served 2 terms on the Te Puke Community Board. I believe I've served my time under 3 different mayors now, Ross Patterson, Gary Webber and James, of course. I think I have seen enough, I know enough, I think I can offer a different way of doing things, a more open, inclusive way of doing things, put more of a focus on, certainly in the current economic climate, affordable rates for our people who are really struggling to pay their rates now. But we also need to be mindful of the fact that a lot of people do want to live in Te Puke, in the Western Bay of Plenty, sorry. And of course, that means demand for infrastructure, houses, and roading and transport networks. So thanks, vote for me and I'll do all I claim to do.
Okay, thank you for that there. Okay, so let's get to the box round questions. So this is where each candidate picks out a box number and then they answer the question that's inside the box. Also, with It's in the Ballot here, we give each candidate 2 button cards. Metaphorically speaking, I'll keep a tally of the buttons because when half the people have the cards, they still actually somehow go over them. So that's why I'll be keeping a list today of that. And also, each candidate has 1 defer card. If a candidate would like to use a button card, they put up their hand and they wait for the first candidate to finish their question before the second candidate puts in a button card. We encourage you to use them because then we can sit there and get a nicer, wider range of things of what candidates stand for. If you also want to use a defer card, you can say you want to use a defer card and request which candidate you want to give it to. My cheeky one is say do it to the ones who are here so we get an answer tonight, but you can always be cheeky and do it to one of your fellow candidates who have not made their way here tonight. Okay. Now, when we pick our candidates, we use a random list order generator sheet here. And Grant, you get to go first. What box number between 1 and 28? And you can use Te Reo Māori or English.
I don't know the Māori version of number 8.
Number 8, Waru.
Waru.
Yes.
Waru.
It's all right. I remember it being drummed into me a lot at primary school. It's the one thing that I do remember is my numbers. Okay, so we have letter F for Foxtrot. With respects to large capital projects, is it more important to support local contractors or to focus on getting best value for the ratepayer?
It's a great question. I don't believe this should be mutually exclusive. Council has gone down the track of establishing a sustainable procurement policy, but we do know that a local contractor should be more conscientious in delivering a service, whether it's fixing a road or mowing a reserve. Although we do have the concerned that smaller, or I mean, local doesn't necessarily mean smaller, but in Te Puke's case, maybe, I keep talking about Te Puke, I've just been doing the council thing, but sometimes scale is required so that we've got certainty in delivery for these services, because if they fail to be delivered, then we know that the residents and ratepayers are not going to be very happy. So we need certainty in delivery and performance, but I think there is an option for local contractors if they have the capability to deliver, and I'm sure they will deliver a more capable result.
Okay, James, what box number? 15. Okay, the good old driver's license age. Okay, and let's go for M for, was it Mike? How will you future-proof the Western Bays from the impact of climate change, including coastal erosion, flooding, and severe weather events?
So resilience for our infrastructure is one of Council's current strategic priorities. So I think part of that is that when we build any infrastructure or renew any infrastructure, we have climate change and severe weather events in mind. So a good example of that was when in 2023, the bridge on number 4 in Te Puke washed away. We've now rebuilt that, but without a central pier, which means it won't, that same issue won't happen again, because the slash and the logs won't be able to wash away the central pier. It's a lot more resilient. So that's this kind of thing where, as I say, think ahead and building resilience, and it won't happen next time.
Okay, Don, what box number?
5, please.
5. Okay. Okay, no, I want that one there. Okay, we got A for Alpha. What does affordable rates mean to you, and how would you achieve this?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, right? I was watching the test match on Saturday, actually, and halftime came up, and I glanced on stuff, and it said most affordable houses in New Zealand are in Gore, $285,000. And I thought, well, that'll be interesting. I jumped on Rate Search, saw how much rates they'd pay for such a property, and the answer came out $85 a week. Now, $85 a week is supposedly for an affordable house down there. Obviously, our own rates around here, $1 million house in Mayoral pays, or any of our urban areas, pays $95 a week. So I guess the answer has to be somewhere between 85 and 95, but that's being slightly flippant. Obviously, it is a big chunk of their money, but obviously that Mayoral house was the key. $60 a week would be perfect, but sadly those days, the cost that we're facing, it's bigger than that. So that's the rates conundrum we face.
Okay, and it looks like we've got 2 buttons. Rodney, you go first.
Yep.
So this is obviously a subject close to my heart. Yeah, the simple fact is we need to change the way the council operates. Head office costs at council swallow about 1/3 of your rates. Our peer councils are down around 20 to 25%. Now, we're going to have head office costs, there's no doubt about it, but we're out of line. And that means not only are our rates higher, but also that we have less money to spend on the key projects. So quite significant changes needed. You know, we need a new CEO who understands that efficiency is part of their brief. And then we need to do a top to bottom, bottom to top review of the council. If we don't do that, then we can expect more of the same. And the message from the public is that they've had enough of more of the same. So we need to make changes. I would gently point out to my colleague Don that a $550,000 house in Te Puke or Katikati, for example, pays about $4,000 a year in rates. A similar valued house in Tauranga City pays around $2,500 in rates. So there is a better way of doing this. We just need to look at how we operate our costs and flow that through to reforming our rates.
Okay, now let's get to Grant for his button.
Yeah, thanks. Nick, is it Nick? Sorry.
Sam.
Oh, Sam.
But that's all right. You've been dealing with Nick, the candidate liaison, who is also a remote editor tonight.
Can we start the clock again? Sorry. First of all, rates are not considered affordable by many in our communities. Rates across the country increased at an alarming rate over the last 3 years. In the Bay of Plenty, apart
Hold your
from the
microphone up a
regional
bit.
council, who subsidise their rates thanks to their $3 billion investment fund, our neighbouring councils increased rates cumulatively by 32% to 42% in this period. We were at the lower end of that scale. However, going forward, I'm committed to cutting our rates back to the bare minimum. It will only be possible with the support of other councillors and a collective push to achieve this. It will have to be the most significant rethink of our current plans and processes with the support of a new CEO to achieve this. It will require a concerted effort to achieve this for next year's annual plan. I think it's possible, but there will have to be significant changes to what we currently deliver or hope to deliver. Of course, as I've already said, we've got this constant growth dilemma, which is adding constant pressure to our projects and costs.
Okay, next up on the random order sheet, Don. What box number?
Better have blindside flanker this time, number 6.
Number 6. No, wait a minute. Didn't I just have you? Yeah, sorry. No, Rodney.
What number was that, John?
6.
6. Okay, well, in the lotto principle, we better go with number 6.
We're gonna still go with number 6. Sorry, that's my mistake for having the highlight and a few buttons make things a lot of fun. Okay, we got Y for Yankee. How would you balance operational and capital investments in community facilities such as libraries, pools, sports centres, sport grounds, and with the need to keep rates affordable?
I actually don't see this as an either-or argument. If the council's much more efficient, then we're able to do more of these things within our current envelope of costs. Sports grounds, libraries, they're not useful add-ons. They're actually part of what we do. What does a council do? Well, what a council does is the things that nobody else can do, like roads, right? Nobody else can operate roads, so it falls back on the council. It's the same with sports grounds. Apart from 1 or 2 private tennis clubs, including one very successful one in Katikati, generally sports facilities are provided by the council because nobody else can. So we don't look to those areas for cuts. What we look to is some of the other areas internally for cuts, and we use those to balance the cost envelope. And you actually might find we actually have a little bit more to do there. One thing that I was very skeptical of, being the tight bum that I am, was the new Community Facilities Fund, but the feedback from the public was they really love this idea. So we have to work with what the public wants.
Okay, so we've got 4 questions down. We've got a new order. James, you get to go first for this order. What box number?
18, please.
18. Yes, good old voting age. Okay, we got, we've got C for Charlie. While the government is proposing to define core services for councils through the Local Government Systems Improvement Bill, what do you consider core and non-core services?
Thank you. Well, the Local Government Systems Improvement Amendment Bill, Local Government Systems Improvement Amendment Bill, it's got a catchy name. That does actually list the core services. And I think they've roughly got it right. It includes network services like roading and water. It also includes things like waste management, parks and reserves, recreational facilities, and libraries. There are a few omissions like regulatory services and things like cemeteries, but they're covered by very specifically by the Act, the Burials and Cemeteries Act 1964, and of course the Resource Management Act, which is due to be repealed. So I think they're covered quite well by those things. I'm pretty happy with those core services. It's as Rodney's just said. Actually, it's about things that the public can't do for themselves, and it's better done in a public way by council.
And we've got a button from Grant.
Okay, I'm using up my allocation pretty quickly, but I think the Local Government System Improvements Bill is a timely piece of legislation at a time when our ratepayers are really struggling. It's going to force councils to actually do what they say in election campaigns and focus on core services, cut back on the nice to haves, And so to actually define them, three waters: transportation, roads and reserves, rubbish recycling, libraries, and regulatory services. While this is a necessary function, some would prefer less intrusion, less cost, complication, and red tape in this space. It is a common complaint I've been hearing lately. People just want to get on with their project without delays and additional requests for information. The other thing that was included in this new bill is museums, which have been defined as a core service. It seems a bit strange that this is added, but I'm happy with this because in the Western Bay we do have two very low-cost museum projects or setups, and the Western Bay Museum in Katikati, which the whole district supports, and the recently open Experience Te Puke Kiwi Fruit Capital of the World, which I think should have a equal funding from the whole district as the Katikati one does. We definitely don't want multi-million-dollar monoliths for our district and ratepayers. Tauranga City can have that.
Okay. Was it next up, Rodney? What box number?
Should we go high? Because everybody's gone reasonably low. 28.
Yep, we can do 28. Okay, we got S for sulphur.
Cool.
How will you work with local iwi and hapu to ensure decision-making reflects partnership principles under Te Tiriti o Waitangi?
So we already have two iwi forums, right? One for Te Arawa in the east and one for Tauranga Moana in the west. As a local councillor for Katikati Waihi Beach, I've mainly been involved with the Tauranga Moana Partnership Forum, and I'm really impressed actually. You know, people talk about separatism, but actually what I've found is that iwi and hapu want to be involved from an early stage, but they also want to do what's best for the whole community. So they're a real asset to the whole community in their approach. They're not really that interested in doing things completely differently. Yes, they have their own needs and requirements for things like urupa, but they actually want to help everybody. The Maori ward that we're about to have for at least the next 3 years is a good thing. It's free, it costs nothing because it comes out of our salaries. It's democratic, it's one person, one vote. And it's also respecting those treaty principles that are embedded in the Local Government Act. So, you know, I think there's a lot we can do, but the main thing the iwi and hapu want to do is to be given a chance to help the whole community, and I think that's a really positive thing.
Okay, thank you for that. Next up, Grant, what box number? 3. Okay, box number 3. Okay, we got K for kiwi fruit. Western Bay of Plenty District Council has faced financial pressures in recent years. How will you ensure responsible fiscal management without cutting core services?
Well, that is the dilemma that we face currently. It's clear we are reliant on great staff, and our most important task after the election is appointing the best CEO we can find. Beyond that, it's essential the mayor and councillors are hyper-vigilant on the issues that arose over the last year with our financials. This was partly due to maybe slightly less experienced staff under the previous CEO. And you know, it's only natural that someone without local government experience coming in is not going to be over this completely. So we do need a fully experienced CEO, a mandate by the government to consider rates capping, the focus on core services will help us to be more responsible, focus on the essential core services and less on the nice to haves. Thank you.
Okay, and we have a button from Don.
Yep, thanks a lot. This last financial year we've just had, Western Bay has had the biggest financial year of its life. We've spent $230 million in our district. A lot of that is investment going forward. It's not as bad as Grant points out. The overall picture's come in pretty well at the end of the day. It is important going forward, that financial management, that we get back to a 6-weekly reporting meeting schedule. That was part of the problem we had. We had long delays between information coming back. We've got to shine the light on that. We've got to present it. Everything we do is public information. Everything we do is the ratepayers, it's your business. So we've got to get it out to you. We've got to demystify the whole thing. We had our largest ever collection of financial contributions. So growth is really flourishing in the district. And we've just got to keep a firm hold on the expenditure as we go. Thanks.
Okay, next up, Don.
Number 8, please.
Number 8. No, sorry, we can't do that. It's been taken. Do you want number 7 or number 9?
7 will be fine. 7. Yeah, you did too. Well done.
Definitely shows that I have kept a list.
Yeah.
Oh, what, for 7? Fitu. Yes. Also, was it our first female Māori minister was named... Correct, Fitu Turakatni Sullivan, yes. Well, in 67, she was only Turakatni at the time of the election, but she married her husband Dennis between winning the election and getting sworn in because it was a bit taboo for an unmarried woman to be elected into Parliament at that point of time.
And what was her electorate?
Southern Māori, which was previously her father's Eda Turakatni.
We've now got audience participation.
Okay, so we got we have the question Z for Zulu. How will you ensure access to community services for diverse population, including students, migrants, and vulnerable groups?
Great question. Look, community facilities are a key part of our business. We provide community hubs, we provide community spaces. It's ironic we're in this town tonight. Te Puke's probably missing out for its share of an upgrade. This community is crying out for community spaces where we can bring these groups together. On one hand, we've got the government telling us stick to core business, all those social other aspects needs to go back to central government, but we need to provide the facilities for that to enable that to happen. So utilise our staff, engage with these people and encourage them all. Thanks.
Okay. Okay, we've got 8 questions down. Let's refresh the order. And Grant, you get to go first. What box? Oh, do we have a button? Oh, okay. Okay, Grant, what box number? Sorry?
Oh, sorry. Let's try number 2, please.
Number 2? Okay, we have Q for Quebec. What qualities do you believe are important in a mayor and how will you demonstrate them?
Okay, I believe that the mayor needs to be approachable, he needs to be relatable, he needs to be open, he needs to be accessible, he needs to be listening to the community. He can't be a closed shop. You know, the councillors need open access, the community needs open access. We need to ensure that the councillors work as a team under the mayor. The mayor needs to be the uniting force for the team. There needs to be significant relatability, as I've already said, with all the many diverse community groups in the Western Bay, whether that's tangata whenua, whether it's the horticultural, agricultural, the economic sector, the small businessmen in the main street, the disabled people, the people with all sorts of needs. We just need an open shop and inclusivity for the mayor. Thank you.
Okay, Rodney, what box number? Oh, you want a button? Oh, sorry, James, we got a button for James? Sorry. Just give me the heads up when camera's lined up. There we are.
Thank you. What makes a good mayor? Well, being able to work with others, your elected members, your staff, community, iwi. You need to build relationships, put the work in, enjoy meeting with people, be extensively read, including all the agendas, and be confident chairing meetings. I've done that and I love the job.
Okay, now, Rodney, what box number?
Did we get 27 yet? There's a pattern.
27 is available to be chosen.
There you go. I've got a system here, you may have noticed.
So 27?
27 it is.
Okay, we got T for Tango.
Okay.
What is your strategy for supporting local businesses, horticulture and tourism while ensuring sustainable growth for the district?
So it's interesting that amongst the government's core services, economic development has stayed, which I think is really important. There's a number of things we can do. One thing is in terms of encouraging local contractors. In the past, the council's sometimes gone for these mega multi-year contracts that really only big companies can do. In recent times, we've cut our contracts up and enabled smaller companies to take part. It's also really important that we put tenders out early. One of the issues with roading in the last summer was the fact that our previous contract fell over and the tenders were put too late. We put a fair whack of money into Tourism Bay of Plenty, and I think there's a very, very good return on that. Tourism is extremely important to our region and to our communities from Waihi Beach right down to Tamarako and those areas. The kiwi fruit industry is both an important industry in terms of support for horticulture and the like, but it's also a possibility with tourism. So I think we need to have a system that's efficient and encourages others to do their best.
Okay, Don, what box number?
11, please.
11. Okay, we got L for Laura. What role should councils play in addressing climate change? Should emissions reduction be a key priority, or do you have other areas of focus?
Certainly have a lot of other areas of focus other than that. Obviously, climate change is happening around us. We are a coastal settlement. We have to be wary of that. But Western Bay of Plenty is really blessed in its natural location. We don't get those cyclones. We don't get those strong winds that come on. So we have that added ability. We don't get smashed to bits like other parts of the country, as we've seen recently. Obviously, Gabrielle was a one-off, and it took out that first bridge James referred to earlier. Waihi Beach and Makatu are coastal areas. They are right hard on the sea, so we have to be aware of what's going on there. Obviously, long-term, we have to work with the Insurance Council, with the insurance companies of New Zealand, what is going to be insured and what ultimately probably won't gain insurance for that. So that is some big work to go, and we need to talk to our community about that, talk to central government, talk to those insurance companies and come up with a long-term plan to address it. Thanks.
Okay, next up, James, what box number?
26, please.
No problem. Okay, we've got I for India. The Western Bay of Plenty is experiencing rapid population growth. How will we ensure our infrastructure, roads, water, wastewater keeps pace without creating unsustainable debt or unaffordable rates?
Well, the key thing here is that we must ensure that growth pays for growth. That is our intention, but the reality is that the framework we currently under means it doesn't quite manage to do that. I'm hopeful that under resource management reform, the new development levies will go some way to fixing that problem. Beyond that, I'm really keen to progress a regional deal, and some of the key strands of that beyond economic growth are around transport and enabling housing. So that will enable us to accommodate that growth and to build the infrastructure in a more fair and equitable way that provides for our district.
Okay, we have 12 questions down, and Rodney, you get to go first for the next round. What box number?
25, please.
It's always good. I remember that one was when my insurance car excess dropped by $500 for the car. That's a random age that you remember. It's better than saying that you get extra $40 a week on the dole.
I just wish that I was 25.
So it's all right. You can always be cheeky and use 25 as the marker where you start again. A lot of people do it at 21 though. Okay, we got G for golf. What do you see as council's largest financial risk, and how would you ensure it's mitigated?
Well, some of the issues have been talked about already. I mean, growth is an issue, and James' answer was a good answer. You know, we need growth to pay for growth. We're a growing council. So one of the things, for example, under the government's water reforms is that we've been absolutely pushed into aggregation because otherwise we would not be allowed to count much of that growth income with that. So yeah, growth is both an opportunity in terms of the economy and more jobs and more opportunities for people, but it's also a huge risk. And it's one of our biggest risks in this area if we don't get it right. And that will take some reform. It also means living within our means. You know, Don's talked about the biggest financial contributions a year ever, but we do know that in the last few years, the downturn in building, for example, has pretty much slashed our regulatory services income from building consents and resource consents and has affected FinCos. So, you know, managing that growth is probably the biggest risk we have. We know the growth is coming. We just have to be able to make sure it pays for itself.
Okay, next up, Grant, what box number?
21.
Oh, yes, I think, what do you call it? Everyone's favourite age, and the voting age in 1949. And the only reason why I know that because that was the first election my grandma voted in. And that's what the law was at the time.
And another story about your grandmother,
Oh, I know. Lovely person.
both based on number 21.
It's all right. If Granddad was alive, he'll be watching this live and probably typing in comments saying, you're doing this great or you're not doing that great. Okay, we got W for whiskey. Do you support or oppose the current water reform model, and how will you advocate for the community interests if the government plan changes again?
Yes, I have supported it by voting for the multi-council CCO, which is what the government was definitely steering us towards. We would have liked to have a more joined up approach with more than just Tauranga City, but would like to have included more councils to add to the financial sustainability of the organisation. I do believe that the savings and efficiencies will come from this approach. The amalgamation of staff, the joined up resources and increased accessibility to new technology and larger contracts. This will benefit our ratepayers and residents in the long term, and it will also enable the rest of the council to be more sustainable in the future going forward.
Okay, we have button from Don.
Thanks a lot. Happy to talk about this one. This is a divisive subject. It's a bit like the Maori ward situation. Some people are on one camp, some on the other. But when you really sum it up, water's going forward, especially wastewater and water, you are talking long-term plants with 50 to 80-year lives. These are intergenerational. These are huge costs. And the new financing tools that have been brought in with the 500% borrowing against 5 times borrowing against your income stream will allow those entities to structure their payments such a way that it will provide relief for households in the next 10 years, and it will spread it long term. So I think that's more the picture. It's not about our water. Of course, we all protect and love our water. It's about getting a long-term funding structure in place that is affordable to people over the longer term. Cheers.
Okay. And with every tradition, when there's a button, normally happens. You get the box number, Don.
Yeah, 13 hasn't come up yet. It normally
no, it
does come up
hasn't.
early in your shows I've seen before.
Yes, no. We've got
Hopefully it's not too unlucky.
Lucky or unlucky.
Yeah,
13.
wait.
Okay, we got letter AB for the All Blacks. Many residents feel disconnected from council decision making. How will you improve transparency and community engagement?
Yeah, they certainly are, and people think that we're some mystified. We are just an extension of them. Everything we do is out in the public. Sure, some private contracts and that have to be done in confidence, and then they're released to the public after that. But really, it's about transparency. It's about sunlight. It's the best thing. And we need to actually explain it much better to people. We need a common language, not fancy IFF accounting standards going forward and accruals and back payments and all the rest of it. We need to explain how the system goes and make it, demystify it and explain it. It is your business. You deserve to know fully about it.
Okay, and we've got a button from Rodney.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on to that. I think there is a perception that the council talks down to people. After rates, it's probably the biggest concern that I hear from the public. I think we need a more humble council, a council that's willing to listen to others' ideas earlier in the process, and rather than putting up a proposal. We need to get out and about and talk a bit more. One of the things that people say is, when you do a proposal, why are we not able to look at the status quo? With local waters done well, we were legislatively required to offer the status quo as an option. But somewhere between the council resolution asking for that and the consultation starting, it got lost. So I think there is a need for people want to see a broader range of ideas that they can react to and have a view on. And some of their own ideas need to be in there a bit more too. So, it's about being a more humble council and being more open to the community at all levels.
Okay, thank you for that. James, what box number?
12, please.
12. Okay, we have B for Bravo. How would you strengthen relationship with central government and neighbouring councils to get the best outcomes for Western Bay of Plenty?
Well, relationships are crucial for the role of mayor and for councils as a whole. I already have strong relationships with elected members and neighbouring councils and our MPs and ministers. But you always do better. And I think to formalise that, the regional deal will actually help that. It's a long-term alignment between central government and local government to achieve the things we really want. So build on those relationships and work as a partnership to get some great stuff done for our district and our community.
Okay, we have a new order because it's 16 questions. Don, what box number?
Is 17 still there?
Yes, the age to join the army is still there. Okay, we got you for uniform. Okay, do you support co-governance models for managing Western Bay of Plenty's natural resources? Why or why not?
Gee, co-governance, explain that all right. Look, I do believe in one person, one vote. I do believe in elected members taking part in it. There are parts of legislation that comes through and treaty settlements and other parts of government that have come through that requires consultation with iwi and tangata whenua, and that's perfectly the way it is, and that's the way it should go through. I certainly wouldn't be appointing any unelected members to councils, committees, so I'd stick to elected members making decisions, but working alongside our partners, our tangata whenua, iwi, and making the best decisions for the district. Thanks.
Okay, Rodney, what box number?
I think 23 is still there, isn't it?
Yes, 23 is still available. Okay, we got E for Echo. Do you agree with how council is currently managing its debt? If not, what changes would you make?
Oh, that's a good question for a tight bum like me. Look, almost all of our debt is in the waters space. So when the reforms come through, and Don's already spoken about this, that new structure will better manage that debt. Talk about scale projects, tens of millions of dollars to build a new wastewater plant in Te Puke, tens of millions of dollars to sort out Karikari's rather leaky outfall. The debt, that's where the debt has been. In fact, I went up and apologised to our parks director after our last 10-year plan because he got absolutely decimated because we had to do the essentials first. So managing the debt has been about getting those things done. And what it has meant is some of the other essential things have been held up. Stormwater in Waihi Beach is now getting attention, but it should have got attention 10 years ago. You know, Te Puke's roading issues have been put to one side because we've had to do the waters debt. So, you know, when waters goes, our net debt position will be basically zero. So, you know, the debt management has been forced upon us by the need for these major capital investments.
Okay, James, what box number?
20?
Yep, we've got 20, the old drinking age and voting age, depending which point in time we're talking about. But there was a short spell between the 1960s and before 75 where the voting age was 20. Okay, we got P for Papa. Beyond finances, what do you see as council's biggest overall risk and how would you deal with it?
Council's biggest overall risk is changes in central government policy and laws. We're recently been subject to huge changes in resource management, in waters, and it's always a bad thing, it's just uncertainty. And so we need to accommodate that and follow the law, of course, but that is our biggest risk that gets in the way sometimes of long-term planning and doing what we want to do. Beyond that, there are risks around civil defence, emergency management. You know, if we have a cyclone like Cyclone Gabrielle come through, that would be a major. We do have a decent contingency fund for that, but when you see how the East Coast was affected, it's hard to see how you can completely accommodate that. But yeah, they're a couple of the big risks I see. Thank you.
Okay, Grant, what box number?
Number 9.
Yep, we can do number 9. Okay, we got R for Romeo. How will you balance the need for housing with protecting farmland, local character, and environmental sustainability?
I think this is a question that's been very to the forefront in our thinking and decision making in recent times. We had the proposed Plan Change 95 put forward for 130 new houses at Pongakawa. This was declined by the commissioners on the basis of reducing highly productive land, whereas at the same time we had the government ministers talking about, you know, making housing growth areas, perhaps turning them on, not being so restrictive on the highly productive land side, and yet the people that proposed that development spent a whole heap of money and just ended up with nothing to show for it. I think with the current spatial planning going on in Te Puke and the future spatial plan signalled for Te Puna, Karikari and Waihi Beach, the outskirts of the town centres, a lot of it is currently held in highly productive land, and I think we need to reconsider the benefit of a slight expansion in that area.
Okay, and we've button from James.
Development needs to happen, but let's do it in a thoughtful way.
Jack.
There is not much developable land left in the Bay of Plenty. What is there is highly productive land, or it's floodable, or subject to coastal inundation, or it's steep terrain. But that's why we have a future development strategy, which was consulted and approved last year. So that's had a lot of expert input and has signalled where development will happen. And as I said, it needs to be done in a thoughtful way where the infrastructure is available to be provided, paid for, and serviced.
Okay, and with tradition with every button, we've got a new round of questions. But James, you get to go first. What box number?
11, please.
Already been taken, but you got 10 or 14 nearby.
14, then, please.
Okay, we got J for Juliet. What is your vision for improving road safety, public transports, and cycleways across the district?
Okay, well, thank you. Start with road safety. I think the big one that we've done for road safety is building the Amoko roundabout. That has made a huge difference already. That was an absolute death trap, and I'm pleased it's going ahead. Next thing I'd like to move along, which is in early stages, I guess, is safe turn-offs for side roads on State Highway 29. They feel really unsafe when you use those. Public transport, that's largely a regional council issue, but I do sit on the Public Transport Committee and have advocated for a review of services to our towns, particularly Katikati, Opera and Puke. The services are just not fit for purpose for a reliable and regular service. TNL2 will hopefully help that. With cycleways, probably less of a favour month at the moment, but I do favour the Athenry crossing, and hopefully get some external funding for that, because it's probably not an internal funding priority, but really wish we can get that one. It's an awesome project.
Okay. Next up, Rodney. What box number?
I guess number 10,
Number 10.
seeing as you've offered it.
That's right. It's now gone. Okay. We got V for violin? Okay. Many residents are concerned about increasing rates and the cost of living pressures. What is your plan to keep rates affordable while maintaining essential services?
So rather than being a keyboard warrior, I went and found an economist to look at how we compare with our peer councils. Our head office costs are head and shoulders above those of our peers. They've increased 45% in the last 5 years, and if you look at our long-term plan, they're due to mushroom over the next few. The good news is that the council is finally taking this seriously, and for example, this year the rates increase was only 2 to 4% for most homeowners. But you've got to keep that pressure on. We need to cut our cloth to what the ratepayers can afford, instead of the traditional council budgeting of what do we want to do? Okay, now let's look at what that percentage increase means. We need to turn that on its head. And a lot of it's to do with efficiency. A lot of it's to do with focus. The government's given us these new core targets to work from. Frankly, they don't look that different to the old ones. It's a little bit of window dressing, but we need to make sure that we live within our means.
Okay, thank you for that. Next up, Don, what box number?
22, please.
Thank you for choosing that one. Okay, we got in for November. Do you think capital investment has been spread fairly across the district? If not, what communities should receive greater priority over the next 3 years?
I think generally it has been spread equally across the district, but you have to look through a 20-year lens in that. You can't just capture it in a 3-year term. Certainly the western side of the district has benefited from it. When I first got elected to council, I was ganged up on, Mayoral, I was getting everything done. They were down on me. They said, come on, the rest of the district needs it. That was mainly funded by growth and funded by FinCos. Obviously, Katikati and Waihi Beach have had investment in recent years with libraries and hubs built out there. Certainly, we are right now in the epicentre of the next stage of development. Te Puke has come. There's a substantial rebuild of the wastewater plant taking place. Not that everyone wants to go and visit the wastewater plant, but they would ideally love more community facilities in this community, and I'm looking at a couple sitting out there now, totally agreeing with me. A hub in this area, places where community can get together, solve the issues, work with council, work with government agencies, long awaited for. So the East time has come in this next 6-year cycle. Thanks.
Okay, Grant, what box number? Sorry?
21? Oh, 22.
Oh, no, sorry, my birthday's gone just then. We got 19, we got 24, we've got the driver's license age of 16, and we've got number 1 of the first vote you need to do if you use this TV.
Number 1.
Number 1?
Delhi for 1. Delhi, number 1. For mayor.
Not a number.
I know you guys don't use this TV here, but I know I'm so used to it. I've got to remember to use it when I go voting later, when I get back to Wellington. Okay, we got D for Delta. Do you support rates capping? If so, should it apply to both core and non-core services? If not, why not?
Thank you very much. I was going to employ my third button for this one, but yes, I do support rate capping. If legislated by the government, it means we will be mandated to respond and make the necessary changes to comply. It will most likely mean significant upheaval and change for most councils. Would I be happy with what is sacrificed to achieve this? Probably not, and our ratepayers will thank us for keeping future rate rises in line with whatever target is set. But there will be reductions in levels of service. There will likely be delays in infrastructure development and upgrades. It will put pressure on meeting growth targets. It may lead to underinvestment in infrastructure for housing and roading to cater for population growth. There will be unintended consequences, but it will be a great opportunity for a significant reset to halt the seemingly interminable rates rises that we have been subject to over the last few years. So yes, I welcome it, and I welcome the restraint that will have to follow.
Okay, 24 questions have been answered. Rodney, you get to pick the next box number. You got 4, 16, 19, or 24?
You anticipated my question. 19, please.
19. Okay, we got AA for AA batteries. How can the council contribute to civil defence and emergency management in our area?
Well, there's two parts to this, I think. One is we need to be ready. And we have had to stand up the civil defence headquarters a couple of times in recent years, most obviously during Gabrielle. But I think part of that is being responsive and realising it will come our way. The big temptation with civil defence, and I've seen it over many years as a journalist as well now, watching local government, is that the temptation is always to put off the preparation for something that may not happen. That would be a fatal mistake. So we need to be ready. The other thing is we need to be more resilient in our own infrastructure. That can be things like not building too close to the coast, facilities that we actually need to use in an emergency. We need to start thinking about that. Now, we have thought about it for the public, interestingly enough. We've got medium flood levels for houses that are quite high in coastal areas now, but we need to make sure the council infrastructure is similarly protected.
Okay. Grant, what box number? Got 4, 16, or 24?
16, please. Age of consent.
Yeah, okay, that's the I would say the driver's license age, but yes, that is so true.
Yeah, I better go with driver's license. Sorry.
That's the more G-rated one. Okay, we got H for hotel. What current council projects, planned or underway, do you think is the most transformational and why? And what projects would you cancel or change?
I hope this qualifies, the Te Puke Spatial Plan project. This is a plan that's been under development for the last couple of years. It's due to be completed next year. It will provide a blueprint for our future needs in Te Puke, our infrastructure needs, our recreational needs, our community needs in general. We will be able to prepare a new project plan, a sustainable funding plan, and this will then lead on to spatial planning for Te Puna, Katikati and Waibeach, as I've already said. I think this is a great new approach to planning for all councils in New Zealand. I would probably change the Tikainga growth area, if I'm honest. I think if the Blue Haven fast track resource consent is granted, then that has considerably more benefits at considerably less cost to the ratepayers, especially for the people in Te Puke, as it will give us an opportunity to address some of our traffic issues.
Okay, James, what box number? The age that you send your kid to,
24, please.
24? Okay, so the age that you no longer require parental income for a student allowance. Okay, we got X for X-ray. Looking ahead, what is the single biggest opportunity you'll see for Western Bay Planning, and how would you ensure the district takes advantage of it?
Thank you. I've sort of covered this one before in a sense, and I think the biggest opportunity is our regional deal, which is being negotiated right now. It'll help grow our economy, enable roading, housing, and social infrastructure. So really keen on that. I hope my fellow elected members support that too. We're aiming to sign the deal before the end of the year. We're one of 3 regions which are being selected by the government: Western Bay, Central Otago, Queenstown, and Auckland. The other, if we're not in the first one, the other 2 will be hopefully signed early in the new year. So they're lining up, but really positive about this one, and hope we can get that aligned policy with central government.
Okay, and Don, what box number? You
So
only
one
got
left.
4.
4, yeah. My locking partner, yep.
Sorry, you got O for Oscar. What is your vision for growth in Western Bay Plenty District over the next 10 to 20 years?
Like I said before, we are blessed with the incredible climate we have and people still looking particularly to retire to this area, but also it's a very productive area. We've got the Rangiru Business Park offering massive opportunities, but obviously housing is the #1 concern. We've got to solve housing issues. We've got to protect the finest kiwi fruit growing land in the world, sorry. So it's still here in 200 years' time. We cannot let housing spread over everything, but we can let some hamlets develop around our neighbourhood. We've got places like Oropi and that are crying out for expansion. We've got Paingaroa, we've got Pongakawa. We've got these areas that can take more housing, that can help provide a workforce and provide a place for people to retire to. So I think that's a real opportunity we've got in the next 10 to 20 years. Thanks.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, we're going to take a quick short break, but before we go, let's get to some housekeeping just to let you know how It's in the Ballot does things for open and transparency. Today's It's in the Ballot show has cost us $500 to hire the venue. We've also included a $14 charge for Starlink, $31 for the restream hosting, $100 travel allowance for petrol, and $50 for refreshments for our crew who are on here. If you'd like to support any of the It's in the Ballot projects here, you can head to our Give a Little page and make a donation on there. You can also head to Eventbrite and do a koha without admission option, or you can get a koha ticket to help fund these events, as we're an independent non-profit organisation with who is funded on small dollar donations. Or if you want for the quickest, cheapest, and least fees on both ends, you can head to our website, it'sintheballot.nz, and go and find our KiwiBank bank account and make a direct credit deposit. And also, if you're watching on YouTube, you can do a super chat if you're watching this live, or a super thanks if you're watching this afterwards for the show. So let's take a 10-minute break, and then we're back for hard-hitting questions.
Breather to stretch out your legs, you don't need a leader. The live stream will be back, so don't go too far, but for now you can wander wherever you are. Intermissions aren't really a thing anymore, but we think they're cool, a tradition to adore. A moment to breathe, have a laugh, maybe chat. There's magic in breaks, and we're keeping that. Head to the lobby, your kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed, we'll resume on a dime. Kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Maybe 3. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed, we'll resume on a dime. Into the lobby, your kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Maybe 3. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed, we'll resume on a dime. Your kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Maybe 3. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed, we'll resume on a dime. We're taking a pause, just a short little breather to stretch out your legs. You don't need a leader. The live stream will be back, so don't go too far. But for now, you can wander wherever you are. Intermissions aren't really a thing anymore, but we think they're cool, a tradition to adore. A moment to breathe, have a laugh, maybe chat. There's magic in breaks, and we're keeping that. Head to the lobby, I mean your kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed. We'll resume on a dime. Your kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Maybe 3. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed. We'll resume on a dime. Into the lobby, I mean your kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Maybe 3. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed. We'll resume on a dime. I mean your kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed. We'll resume on a dime.
Oh shit, don't panic, but it's almost time to get back to the show. The candidates have stretched their legs, been partying, taking a break. Cause there's still hard-hitting questions, closing statements and stuff you wanna know. So grab those snacks for their answers and prep for decisions you need to make. Oh, 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 oh. The candidates have stretched their leg. The candidates have stretched their legs, been partying, taking a break. There's still hard-hitting questions, closing statements and stuff you wanna know. So grab the snack you wanna know. So grab those snacks, hear the answers and prep for decisions you need to make. Oh, 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 oh.
Okay, let's welcome back to It's in the Ballot, and now let's get ready for hard-hitting questions.
Hard-hitting questions. We don't give anything for it. What does a question? Because every candidate has an answer behind hidden questions.
Okay, so hard-hitting questions are the questions that all candidates have to answer. They can't use their button cards, they can't use their fur cards, because all that candidates will be answering hard-hitting questions. Now, just let's get my ducks in the row because we need to redo the random order sheet. Hard-hitting question number 1. As Mayor, how do you intend to lead and manage elected members who have opposing views or are in conflict? Don.
I can give you a live example of this because last year's the LTP, which sets out the spending and aspirations for the next 10 years of our council, we passed that as a council less than 1 year ago, and I didn't support that. I lost that vote, 11 votes to 1. I opposed the spending, the aspirations we had. It was too high. We had an 8% rate increase on average for the next 10 years. And suddenly now everyone wakes up to the ideas, whoa, we've got a cost of living crisis. The government are threatening rates caps. But so that's just one example. Obviously within the chamber, I think we need to go back to the old fashioned whiteboard. We need to work through issues. Let's put up all the options. We have some great long speeches at council, but we don't really address the issues sometimes because people seem to be so entrenched. Let's put up the options. Let's look at them. Let's work them through. Obviously, 5-all votes do not last sustainably. You have, in a 10-person council, you have to get at least 8 people agreeing to it, something for it to be sustainable. So that's what I'd do. Good old whiteboards.
Okay, Rodney.
I guess the key thing here is that we need to work through these issues together. Now, I'm no fan of workshops. In fact, when I was a journalist, I hated them. We've opened them up a bit with very good notes. There's more we can do to open those up. But I also think councillors need to turn up to them. The long-term plan's a really good example where one councillor declared they were not turning up to the workshops, so they were not part of the discussion. So while we were in there trying to carve millions of dollars, and we did, from the budget, that councillor was absent. And that councillor turned up 2 days before the end of the financial year and suddenly declared he was opposed when he hadn't actually been there. So I don't think that's a sustainable argument, frankly. You're either part of the process and you want to be engaged from the start. You can't just turn up and showboat on the last day. So I think there is a change needed. We have systems to manage conflict. It's called, the meeting rules. We have all those are there, but it needs people that want to engage and not just turn up to the workshops that they chair.
Okay, James.
It's important to understand the concerns of all elected members, where they're coming from and why. I favour a collaborative approach and allowing everyone to have their say. It sometimes takes a long time, but that's the nature of it. That's why we have workshops to work through those concerns and share information and understand each other's views. Where we haven't achieved a strong consensus has usually been in the last 3 years because we've had a legislative deadline that's been imposed on us, and that's not given us the opportunity to work through more fully. I'm thinking about local water's done well to some extent and the representation review. I encourage elected members to share their views and their concerns early and give them the opportunity to highlight what the red flags are for them, and for staff to provide the answers where necessary. If you do that, we can take everyone on the journey and come to a consensus or near consensus.
Okay, Grant.
I'm a lover, not a fighter, unless it's fighting to win a debate on a close issue. I consider myself a peacemaker. I like to maintain an even keel. We have disagreed more times with closer votes than any previous council that I've been on. I think I have good relations with current councillors, but we actually need to utilise the strengths of the team in the most productive way. So I think if councillors play to their strengths, we have chairs and deputy chairs of committees, if we all turn up, if we open our workshops to the public, then we will we will be under more scrutiny, and I think that will actually give us more opportunity to be respectful with each other and come to a consensus conclusion on the big issues. That's my plan to progress with cordial relationships.
Okay, let's get on to hard-hitting question number 2. Now, need some clarification here. This is a wish list if the situation presents. If money or consent weren't a constraint, what is one big idea or project you would push for council to pursue? Grant.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that, Sam. So it is a dream scenario. Money and consent's no issue. I would love the Western Bay and Tauranga City to be connected up from Waihi to Otamaraka and Rotorua via shared cycle and walkway trails. We need to be part of the great cycle trails of New Zealand. When John Key initiated the cycle project back in 2009, Tauranga City and the Western Bay was left off because we simply didn't have the connections to form part of that great trail. So we've done a huge amount of work over the last 20 years. The Omokoroa to Tauranga Cycle Trail is world class. The Athenry Crossing, we had unanimous support from all the councillors, but we still need to get out of Te Puke with shared pathways. We've got roadblocks from Te Puke to Rangiora Business Park and to Papamoa. We can make this happen with a bit more of a commitment, with some more external funding, and that is my vision, my dream scenario.
Okay, next up, James.
Bypasses for Te Puke, Katikati, and build the city into Kainga. Simple, done.
That's short, sharp, and sweet. Rodney.
I'm just struggling with the premise. If money or consents were a constraint, they are a constraint. You know, we're living in la land if we think they're not. So I'm a pretty practical person. I actually think we should look at what we actually can do. I think it's more useful for the public and for the ratepayers to know what we can do. Having said that, I think there is one project that James mentioned that should be the top of our priority list, and that is sorting out Te Puke's traffic woes. You know, I came on here 3 years ago in the campaign, 3 years ago, Te Puke people said to us, you need to fix our traffic. So I walked into council thinking, well, there must be a plan. You know, surely there's a plan to fix the biggest problem in Te Puke. And I've asked a few times, you know, Grant knows that, others know that. I've asked a few times, what is the plan? What is the plan? What is the plan? Yet we don't have a plan. And that to me is quite shocking. You know, I've got shopkeepers that I've met the last few days who I've known for a while who are just saying, well, where is the plan? We've been talking about this for years and we don't actually have one. Now, I understand some of the reason is that we've had to focus on the waters, but that excuse is going away. So I'm sorry, I don't do dreams. I do what do people actually need.
Okay. And Don.
G'day. I don't believe this is a dream or is la land, but I would love to address housing affordability in this neck of the woods, in this end of the district. People ask me, Don, what's council all about? It is largely about treating wastewater. It is the biggest issue we face, and the safe discharge. Now, obviously, my dream scenario would be a mega wastewater plant down this end of town that treats wastewater, that discharges safely, hopefully to an ocean outfall, that reduces the phosphate levels, that reduces the nitrogen levels that plaguing the Waiari and into the Makatu estuary. We have the land disposal at Makatu, which is not a perfect solution long term. The land is starting to give up the ghost, and we have to move to a second part. So redirecting that to this new plant, obviously tying in Te Kainga, even Te Tumu, working with our neighbours. Local Water's done well with our CCO, provides the opportunity going forward. So I believe that's a real opportunity this district could grab hold of, and it would solve a lot of issues, environmental and housing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Now let's get on to hard-hitting question number 3. What is your position on retaining Western Bay of Plenty's district, Wakakai Uru district-wide Māori ward, and the Bay of Plenty Regional Council Mayoral Māori constituency, and why do you hold that position? James.
I voted to establish the ward, so I'm obviously going to support it. I see it as improving representation, leading to better decision-making around the table, allow us to not have any, reduce the number of blind spots. It's democratic, it costs nothing, and we've seen it work at BOP, Bay of Plenty Regional Council for the last 20 years, and that seems to work well, so I'm in support.
Okay, next up, Don.
Obviously, New Zealand's finally growing up in my,
Jack.
sorry, Jake. New Zealand's finally growing up with their whole interrelationship between Maori and the rest of New Zealand. We're 185 years since the Treaty of Waitangi was gone. 15 years' time, it'll be 200 years. When my grandchildren, who are being born right now, have gone through 20 election cycles and be my age, we will be 250 years beyond the Treaty of Waitangi. And I hope for their sake that New Zealand's finally come to grips with the issues there. We've got a significant iwi in this local area that is still yet to settle, 185 years on. You've got the massive Ngāpuhi claim up north. These issues are vital, they are going on. So getting back to the Maori wards, I think they are a great way of addressing the issues. Ultimately, long term, we are all going to be one big nation going forward, but at the time being, I fully support them. I think they're the best way to address giving that voice that we need to come to the table and not just all us old grey heads. Thank you.
Okay, Grant.
Okay, just on the Te Puke traffic woes, that shouldn't be a dream scenario. It's a must-have. We can fix this problem. I don't know why people think it's La La Land.
Well, it's a hard-hitting three, big fella.
Okay, 2018, we voted to establish Maori wards. We made that decision knowing a referendum would likely overturn it. We could have taken a pragmatic decision and voted against it, like Matamata Piakau did. The people's vote did overturn it, 78 to 22. That's a significant margin. But at least we heard the people. The Maori people held some hope for a little while, and then the Naya Mahuta came along and made it a political ping pong issue. Whole provision. We voted to establish a ward again, and we did until the new government came along and they reintroduced the referendum in conjunction with our first 3-year Maori ward. So we have a 3-year opportunity to see exactly how it works, and I really look forward to seeing how that goes. It's an opportunity for the people to get a glimpse of what it might look like with a more inclusive approach, even though we still know that the referendum is likely to overturn it in 3 years' time.
Okay, and Rodney.
So I'm interested that you've conflated the regional council and the district council, because the regional council's had this for 20 years. Parliament's had this for something like 150 something years, and no one seems to even question it. Even dear old Winston, when he was in Katikati the other day, had nothing to say about Maori seats in Parliament. So there's a lot of inconsistency here. I think there's a value in bringing our treaty partners to the table. It is Section 4 of the Local Government Act that we have to consult meaningfully with Maori. It is free, as James seems to have picked up from me. Basically what happens is the salaries come out of our salaries, so there's no cost to the ratepayer. It is democratic. We've been very careful to make sure everybody's votes are about equal. And it recognises those treaty obligations that we have under the Local Government Act. So it's interesting to me. I think this is actually a generational question. So the people that oppose it tend to be at the older end of the spectrum, because they went through school at a time when we were all told that to be equal, we had to be the same. Younger people understand that we can be equal but different. So as long as we keep the equality reasonably together, I think we're fine.
Okay, now let's get ready for closing statements on why should the voters give you that tick to become the next mayor. And I'll just see what the random list order generator splits up. Don, you get to go first.
Thanks, everyone. If you've sat through this, well done. You've passed Local Government 101. Look, I offer myself as a candidate to be the mayor of the district. I'm passionate about the area. I've got vast experience in all the issues that go on. The mayor does control a lot. He doesn't get a casting vote if things are tied. He sets the agenda. He sets the platform. I will revert back to 6 weekly reporting, open up council, make it a whole lot less daunting, make it transparent to you, explain in local and full English what's going on, and work for you. So 1 vote for Don for mayor, and if you live in the Kaimai ward, give me a tick as well. Good on you. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Okay, next up, Grant.
I've really enjoyed my time as a councillor on Western Bay District Council. I love listening to the people. I love trying to satisfy their wishes and their needs. We do get a lot of requests for things that we just simply can't accommodate. And even though we have in the past, we just need to be a bit more focused on the core services, as you've heard many times. So it is going to be a change this coming 3 years. I do feel that, you know, we can't just listen to the majority. We do need to listen to all the diverse sectors of our community. I would really value the opportunity to run the show. It's still only 1 vote for the mayor, but we haven't had a mayor in the East. You know, I'd like to remind you that since 2008, when Graham Well died in office. So if you want to talk about equal distribution or equity across the district, then voting for a mayor in the East would address that concern, if it is a concern. I know people in Karikari, Waihi Beach, Te Puna, Omakoroa probably don't feel that way, but just think, you know, your vote is going to be spread very thinly. Why not vote for someone that you can be sure of? Vote for Grant Daly in the East, and I will look after all of you. Thank you very much.
Okay, Rodney.
If you look around the candidates, you have the current mayor, you have the former CEO, and some councillors that between them have racked up 50 years nearly of experience at our council table. You have so many status quo candidates this election. And you have one candidate, me, who's actually interested in real change. Yeah, I've got a vision that says we need to be more careful with our money. We need to be more focused as a council. We need to be open to what you want, and we need to be transparent. That's my vision. I think if we actually get the efficiency and the focus right, we can actually do more of these nice to haves, because we'll actually have some capacity to do it, to solve problems like Te Puke's traffic, to solve problems like Waihi Beach's stormwater, to solve problems like, you know, Omakoroa's growth pains. But we can't keep doing things the same way if we expect or want a different result.
Okay, thank you for that. James.
I'm the current mayor. I love the role. I've got a strong work ethic. I've put in the hard work, and I've achieved good results. I have the governance experience, financial skills from my professional career, and have built strong relationships that will be invaluable in this term. As well as getting the basics right, there will be some exciting changes for the future of our council in the next 3 years, whether from a regional deal, resource management reform, or some of the significant infrastructure investment coming up. I look forward to taking our district forward and doing the very best for our community. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. And I'd like to sit there and thank our candidates for participating on It's in the Ballot tonight. It's not easy to chuck yourself in front of a video camera, but hopefully this gets ready for Jack Tane. As I always sit there and say, or that natural disaster where you have to sit down there and suddenly appear on One News, you know, which does happen from time to time. I'd also like to thank our audience members for participating and our audience member online watching. I'd also like to highlight a comment from Danny Simpson. Thank you so much. And the comment was, thanks team, really great service that you help provide to help encourage voting and promote democracy. Thank you for that. And also on here, I'd like to sit there and thank, was it Team Jack, who's here in studio, helping me do cameras, Nick, who's our candidate liaison, doing remote editor. I'd also like to thank Laura for doing our marketing and promotion, Stacey for doing our graphics, Helen for doing the questions, Carol for doing the playing card posts, and I'm trying to think, there's a long list of things that can sit down there and get mentioned that could go on, of little teams of got our core lot, and then we've got our little business supporters who help remotely to make these shows work. We will be having tomorrow, we'll be having our remote only day with Omakoroa Community Board, Kaimai General Ward and now how do you say that Māori electorate electorate name again? Ward name? Waikaka Order?
Wakakaiuru.
Yep. That will be tomorrow at 3, 4 and 7 p.m. And then we've got Kareao District Council this Saturday. And if you're down the road and want to head to Tauranga, we've also got the Tauranga shows on Sunday. So from us here at the It's in the Ballot team, we wish you a good evening and make sure you get out and vote.